newspapers in Wisconsin and Green Bay for like 4 decades. Now he's at The Athletic, which is a great landing spot for a lot of these young and old writers. Bob McGinn is not a clickbait guy. He doesn't do media. We invited him on the show today. He's not a guy that does a bunch of media. He's not looking for attention. He's very covert. He really just does, he writes columns and that's it. But, of course, if you criticize, Packer fans are a very strange group. If you ever criticize Aaron Rodgers, Aaron's the victim. We're just picking on Aaron. Nobody ever picks on Drew Brees. Nobody ever picks on Tom Brady. Aaron's the one quarterback in the league everybody's just picking on. Anyway, Bob McGinn says in his column this week about the Packers draft, public niceties aside, my sense is Matt Lafleur, the new coach, fresh from a terrific 13-3 baptismal season, simply had enough of Rodgers' act and wanted to change the narrative. With a first-round talent on the roster, the Packers would gain leverage with their imperial quarterback and his passive-aggressive style. If the Packers do indeed want to become a running team next year, they surely wouldn't want Rodgers rocking the boat and becoming even more difficult to coach. So the point being, he calls him imperial. I doubt he's just making this up. It's his opinion, and Bob McGinn is certainly more qualified than any Packer fan to have an opinion. But I went last night, and I went on Twitter to watch it, and what a shock. Whoever criticizes Aaron Rodgers, that's who the Packer fans attack. His brother criticized Aaron Rodgers. He's a loser. His dad criticized him. He just sponging off him. Bob McGinn is a nobody. Coach Greg Jennings, he's a bitter. It's always blame the messenger. Ask yourself this in life. Why doesn't this criticism happen to other quarterbacks? Why? Are we just picking on Aaron? Nobody's picking. Russell Wilson had one article written about him. That's it. Everybody else likes him. Everybody likes Tom. Everybody likes Matt Ryan. Everybody likes Breeze. I don't see these articles about Jared Goff. I don't see these. I mean, it's like, do you think we're making stuff up with Baker Mayfield, or Baker Mayfield's got lousy judgment? Do you think we're making stuff up about Aaron Rodgers, or maybe he's passive-aggressive and prickly and difficult to get along with and has a big ego? Why would we pick on Baker Mayfield? He's in Cleveland. It's not like it's a really important franchise. Why would we pick on Aaron Rodgers? Everybody likes Green Bay. Green Bay is the small town underdog. Green Bay's one of those cities, one of those teams like the Saints and the Packers. They're kind of like America likes them. America can hate the Raiders. America can hate the New York teams and the Philadelphia teams and the Patriots. Everybody likes Green Bay. So why nobody picked on Favre all the time? Why are we picking on Aaron Rodgers? You'll meet people like this in life. Somebody's watching my show right now, and he has a much more successful brother than him or more successful sister, and instead of blaming himself, he's the victim. Mom gave them they've been very lucky. They got certain breaks. Certain people want to play the victim, and Packer fans always blame the messenger. Aaron's a victim. In fact, I saw this come out yesterday. This was ridiculous. So there was this graphic that made it all over the internet yesterday. Touchdown passes to first-round draft picks. Aaron's only had one in his career, as if first-round draft picks are everything. Pete Carroll's butchered half his first-round draft picks. He's a legend drafting. Why? What he does in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh round. So, first of all, this is deceptive. The Packers did not have a first-round pick when they drafted Jordy Nelson. They took Jordy Nelson top of the second, 36th, and he had 70 touchdowns with Green Bay. So that would have put Aaron closer to the middle of this mix. Also, has Russell Wilson had great support? Offensive line support? No. Great wide receiver, first-round pick support? No. Nobody complains. Russell Wilson doesn't complain about it. Nobody has to defend Russell Wilson. He just makes it work. So, in my opinion, nobody in life is always a victim. Nobody gets talked about this like Aaron Rodgers. If you think Aaron's just a victim of Bob McGinn and a victim of Greg Jennings and a victim of Mike McCarthy, he's just a victim, I can't help you. Because I don't think people are victims. I think your reputation over the course of 20, 30, 15, 10, 5 years in any industry is... Jay Cutler had a reputation, is difficult. He just got divorced. I don't like to hear that, but he's difficult. He was difficult before that. He's difficult. People I know Jay Cutler and like him and say, he's just a pain in the butt. Jay's a pain in the butt. Jeff George, a pain in the butt. I mean, I've known people who know him. Jason Whitlock defends him, knows him. So, Aaron's a pain in the butt. He's prickly. He can be arrogant. He's passive-aggressive. He's an eye roller. He's a finger pointer. Nobody's just picking on him. And by the way, if first-round wide receivers guaranteed success, then the Detroit Lions would be the Patriots. Because they drafted a first-round receiver at one point not long ago, 3 years in a row. Since when has that been the tipping point on success? They don't draft first-round wide receivers. Well, they do. It just so happens Marvin Harrison went in the first round of Peyton Manning, was great, so Peyton's got a zillion touchdown passes to a first-round quarterback. Marvin Harrison accounts for more than half those, I'm sure. All right. Shift gears to this. So yesterday was actually, over the last week, and I thought yesterday was a tipping point on this, a 5-star point guard from UCLA who had committed decided, I'm not going to go to UCLA. I'm going to go play in the G League. His name is Daishawn Nix. Now, that is 3 5-star high school players that are saying, we're not going to college. We're going to go to the G League. So bottom line is the NBA has been creating this G League for years and years and years and years and years because they want to control, quote, their players / assets earlier, and the players also want to get paid. Some kids just don't want to go to college. There's some good and bad to this. The good for a kid is he plays against pros. He's going to make some scratch. He's a pro earlier. And a lot of kids don't want to go to college. That's not, not everybody's built for college. The downside is the coaching's going to be egregious at some times. The towns you're playing in are awful mostly. And I don't think it's a great platform to show your smile, your game, your personality like Duke, Kansas, Syracuse, or a college program is for a year. But the top 10 to 12 high school kids in the country now are going to go to the G League. They're not going to go to college basketball. That's not the end of college basketball. College basketball's regular season has been irrelevant for 15 years. College basketball has been a 3-week sport. It's a bracket, not a sport, for the last 15 years. Nothing's going to change there. And we also have to be comfortable with sports do change. When I was a kid growing up, there was no UFC. Boxing was awesome. And then UFC arrived, and boxing shrank for about 10 years, and UFC ruled the world, and now boxing and UFC are both viable. When I was growing up, I'm sure this was the case with Joy, the Olympics were big. Like, the Olympics were everything. I don't have a friend now. The World Cup now is what my friends watch. That's the big global event. I'm not saying the Olympics don't matter. People will watch it. But my buddies that I live around in Manhattan Beach, they're all World Cup guys. They're not into the Olympics and curling. It does gymnastics. They don't care. They're into the World Cup. In the 70s, when I was a kid, baseball was king and the World Series was everything. Now football's the king and the Super Bowl rules the world. Sports change. College basketball is no longer a growing, thriving business. But you know what this comes down to? Is that once again, and I hit on this theme all the time, doesn't matter what business you're in, you gotta adapt. You gotta evolve. And basketball has always been a sport where the player's more important than the coach. That's just a fact. I'm not saying basketball coaches don't matter, but you win when you have talent. In the NFL, you can have all sorts of talent. You got a bad coach, you're a bad team. In the NBA, you got a bunch of good players. They may fight and you may not win a championship, but you're going to win some games. You're going to win some games. And basketball, the NCAA is a big, slow-footed, red tape bureaucracy, and they should have seen 5 or 6 years ago that the NBA was creating a G League, and it was getting better and better and better and better. And the NCAA this morning reacted to that G League move by saying, okay. We're going to pay the players now. Okay, we'll give them money for likeness and YouTube. Okay, we were wrong on that. No. You can't treat your wife like crap, and then she's willing to walk out the door on you, and you go, hey, I got some roses for you. It's a little late. If you treat somebody like crap for 15 years, oh, honey, I got some roses. She's packed her suitcase and left. NCAA, big, slow, reactive, not proactive. You could see this G League coming. It was like a slow left hook. It was like you saw it coming for 10 years. They create the G League, and then they found Gatorade and a supporter of it. They were growing it. And slowly but surely, what they were doing is saying, hey, NCAA, we think you're a bad business. Our kids want to get paid and play with other pros earlier like they do in Europe, and we're going to start paying them. And the NCAA, no, sat up in, their big ivory towers, and they just didn't recognize it. And this morning, the young players are leaving, and the NCAA now this morning reacts and goes, well, we probably should have. Okay, now we'll give you some money for your likeness. It's too late. I don't think it kills college basketball. I think the regular season's been dead for a decade and a half. I still think we'll watch March Madness. I still think people that live in Madison, Wisconsin will watch the Badgers play. I still think people that live in Lexington, Kentucky will watch the Wildcats play. People that live in Syracuse will watch Jim Boeheim, his team play. Tobacco Road, UNC, Duke, they're going to still watch those guys play. And there's still going to be some really, really good players that will play in the NBA that will go to college. But this is about the NCAA not paying attention. Bureaucrats, big, arrogant, not watching what's happening fundamentally at the kind of G League level. It's been happening for years and years. It started, and it was pretty bad, and then they got like Gatorade. Didn't it used to be called something else? Then it was the G League for Gatorade. Then they put more money into it and more, and they woke up this morning, and the G League now will pay guys $500,000. If you're the right guy. So, I don't feel sorry for anybody. I think the world changes. I've been doing sports forever. Baseball's not as big as it used to be. The World Cup's bigger. The Olympics don't feel quite as big. College basketball is shrinking. Boxing was big, shrunk, back. UFC didn't even exist. XFL tried, left. It may come back. Everything's changing. Sports gambling now is legal in Europe years ago. Now it's legal increasingly in America. You got to see the changes before they hit you in the face. And the NCAA was slow and reactive, not proactive on this. And it cost them some players. That's life. Coming up next, Jalen Hurts got drafted. But do you know why the Eagles drafted him? It's because of a current NFL player. That's coming up. Over 50 years ago, two men with an insane passion for motorsport and engineering began building race car engines in an old abandoned mill. And they saw great opportunities, but it was kind of more than that, just opportunities. It was a chance to kind of push the envelope, break the rules, and prove that a 2-ton family sedan eventually could compete in 24-hour track races. And, they're going to shock the competition a little bit, but it really was. This engineering company wanted to validate their belief.